Welcome back to AskAPop. Today we're talking about soccer, football, long as it's not an own goal. Okay, little bit's about to the age to where he could start getting into his first activity. Now, when I was a kid, there was about 5 sports that the boys could play, and my parents picked out 3 of them that would keep us both out of trouble and active. There wasn't any social media around, and there was telling them all the pros and cons, and definitely no experts popping up out of the woodwork on either side of the fence, telling them all the thousands of things that dangers that could be going on, or all the great things that could be going on, and all the experts that you know come up and tell them all the things that would be wrong with it if they didn't agree with them, and certainly nothing to try to sway mom and dad's beliefs. All their friends would try to do anything if they did. Good old days. Seems now, no matter what you try to do, there's going to be folks coming out of the woodwork. If they agree with you, they're going to swamp you with praise and tell you all the great things and all the reasons why you're doing the right thing. And at the same time, if they don't agree with you, they're going to swamp you with all the things with the conflicting information and try to tell you why it's the wrong idea and wrong decisions you're making. And that's because good old Abe said it best about 150 years ago when he said you can't please all the people all the time. And really, isn't there only 3 people that you should be trying to please at this time? And that'd be you, your spouse, and your kid. But anyway, I digress. And honestly, what brought this up really isn't about the sports. It's about a post that's been going around that my beloved was reading to me yesterday about people passing around Pocket Jesus. And then in the comment sections, they were, kind of going to town on it because now I get it. There's some denominations out there that really don't like the idea of having icons in their church, and people have strong feelings about icons in church. And again, I get it. That's to each their own. And if somebody hands you a pocket Jesus or wants to talk about it, and that's not something that you're into, that's okay. But you know what? There are other denominations that's perfectly fine with. And if that little pocket Jesus allows them to get a little bit closer to God, how can that be such a bad thing? And it reminds me of when I was first, learning scripture, and I asked Papa about how, if we, and I'm not going to give the denominations, but if we in church X believe so much differently than somebody in a church Y, how could we both be considered Christians? And he just kind of laughed at me and chuckled and smiled in his own way and said, honey, I'm sure that there's just as many folks from church Y in heaven as there is folks from our church in hell, and vice versa. And that's because God didn't make all these churches, all these different kinds of churches for him. He made all these different kinds of churches for us because some people need different things. And God just wants us to love him. And he knows that some people are going to want to love him differently than others. That really stuck with me over the years. And, excuse me, all he really wants is our love and devotion. And, every time that I stop and see somebody doing something differently than I do, I'll remember that lesson that my grandfather gave me all those years ago. That's just a thought from somebody who does, I'm going to take a stand now, like to use his hands when playing football. There, I've said it and I've taken my stand. Okay, now for the Bible verse. Today is Romans 14, the whole chapter. Love for you to read it. As far as questions go, how do you handle it when somebody tells you something that you disagree with? How about in general when they're telling you something of a decision that they're making that you might or might not have advice for, but they're not really asking for it? Just a thought. Anyway, God bless you. Have a great day. And how do you like football? With your feet or with your hands or a little bit of both? God bless you.